So, what is up, everybody? It's Joe here, budgetboss.ca. It is Monday. It is April the 6th. It is the COVID campaign for financial awareness, day 11. We are entering the third week of my campaign. We are entering the fourth week of my isolation. I'm sure you're going a little bit stir crazy right now. So, if you're following me live on IG, this video is going to be available on IGTV very shortly, pretty much once it's done, and then you can see everything I'm showing. If you are following me watching this video on Facebook or on YouTube, you will be able to see everything I am showing you. Today I want to talk about the CERB. I mentioned last week that the government benefits are going to be available shortly. Our boy Trudeau came through and they are available now. So I want to explain the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit and show you exactly what that entails and what you have to do to get it. It's pretty straightforward, but there is some caveats involved with it. So I want to make sure that people understand what those are and know what they're getting up against when they're applying for it. So this is the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit. In more simple terms, it's the $2,000 a month. This is what our government's putting forward for the people who do not qualify for EI, or if they do qualify for EI, they'll be shifted into the emergency response benefit. The big thing about it, this is for people who've lost their job to the COVID-19 pandemic crisis. So we are in the midst of that. Applications are available today, and I want to show people and give people the links where they can actually apply for that. But first things first, as I usually do, let's take a look at the market, see what they are doing right now. Green across the board, positivity abound. Now, we are looking at 3 or 4% gains across the board, and that includes the overseas markets, which I will show you in just a second. But here's what I want people to truly understand about these gains. These gains are specifically based on the fact that several places around the world, including New York State, New York City within New York State, California, we are looking at Italy, France, Spain, Germany, all these places have actually reported that they've crested with their COVID-19 deaths and cases within a day. So what that means is basically they've hit the same level of deaths or cases within a day for several days in a row, which to them is indicating that they may have hit the peak of the crisis for them. Now, this obviously doesn't exclude a second wave that could come at any given time, could come right away, could come in the fall. In certain places in America, it could come very quickly because they were late to the gate in terms of shutting down their state or city. There's still 8 states, I believe, in America that aren't on lockdown mode like the rest of the world is. Go figure. So what I want people to understand is that this is specifically based on the fact that, or for the most part, is based on the fact that there's optimism in terms of we're hitting the edge of getting past this crisis. So what does that tell you? That this growth, 3 or 4% growth, which for people who have a large account, this can be a lot of money. 3 or 4% growth in one day based sheerly on the fact of optimism. Now, here's what I will tell you as well. That shows you that the news isn't good. It's been dire news for the past week, 2, 3 weeks, and it's predicted to get worse. But that being said, if this is based purely on optimism, imagine what the markets will do when we come up with better testing, when we come up with more ventilators coming in, or even hallelujah, a vaccine or a treatment that's approved. I know they're talking about this chloroquine or whatever it is that is used to treat other things. This optimism will spring the second news like that comes out. The second cases start to truly decline, because if you look at around the world, we've had over 1.3 million cases around the world, over 60,000 deaths. America is getting hammered right now, 300,000 deaths. Imagine when those numbers start to crest, the optimism within the market will be huge and they will go up immediately. This is why I'm begging people not to try and time the market, because if you were waiting for the second wave for them to go down, I'm not sure they'll stay at this level. No one is. They probably will go down, up and down a bit more, but they might not hit the lows that they hit. And I'll show you what those lows are in a second, because in my opinion, I think we hit those lows. They priced in every loss that's going to happen in the economy. Obviously, there's some outliers that they don't quite know about, but the fact is that the markets went down so steeply, so dramatically, so quickly. Uh, the biggest question we had to ask ourselves is, do we think this is going to be the end of the world? No, we don't. Then why will the markets go down even lower? Let's take a look at the European markets. So even in Europe, we're looking at the markets are closing. I believe they're closing in half an hour. The European markets are closing in half an hour. We're looking at 3, 4, or even 5% gain in Germany over the course of the day. So that's pretty impressive. In Asia, let's take a look at that. Asian markets, pretty much uniformly across the board, we're looking at huge gains. Outliers include China and India. But for the most part, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, or 4% gains, and that's pretty impressive. What I want people to take a look at is this is the actual TSX. The TSX is up 3.37% today, and if you look at the last 5 days, we've had some dramatic swings. So we hit a high on the first, which was last Tuesday, Tuesday the 31st. So we hit a high there around 13,500. We marched down, and then today we are hitting around 13,400. So if you look at the day to day, it goes up, down, up, down. If you look at the past month, this past month, about 1 month ago, Friday, March 6th, we were at 16,200. Since then, we've had a dramatic march down. But then when we hit March 23rd, which was about 2 weeks ago. So about 2 weeks ago, we hit a point, the lowest point of the market in the past, I think, about 8 years. And this low point of the market, 11,228, we've since gone up. So if you put your money in at that lowest point, you'd be up quite a bit right now. The problem is how did you know it wouldn't go lower, or how did you know it would actually go higher and not stay at that point? That's the problem with trying to time the market. You're trying to bet on something that you have unknowns. So what your best bet is, even right now is a great time to get in, because the hope is that we'll go back to our original levels, which if you look at the 3-month chart, we actually hit around 17,900, almost at 17,000, almost 18,000. So we're bound to go back to that. It's just a matter of how long will it take. Will it take a year? Probably. It'll probably take till the end of the year before we get all this sorted out. But that's the case of what's going on right now. So I want people to truly understand that trying to time the market is a risky proposition. It usually doesn't end well. You could do it right once, you could do it right twice, but overall it's a losing proposition, because you're going to miss out on days like today. If you were waiting for it to go down today and in fact it went up, you're timing it wrong, and that's just too difficult to do. Even experts can't do it. So that's my market update. I'm also going to share a link today from BNN, places that are hiring or places that are laying off during the COVID crisis right now. There's a lot of places that are actually hiring right now. Unfortunately, there's a lot more places that have laid off people. So we're looking at airlines are a big one that have actually laid off people. So I'm going to put this link too, so people can see jobs that are hiring if they're looking for work right now. Okay, so let's get to the actual program about the CERB. So what I want people to do first is obviously download the combo expenses worksheet. Tons of people have downloaded this, hundreds and hundreds of people. It's a great worksheet, help you get organized. I created it myself. I use it with my clients on a regular basis. I think it's a great thing and a great time right now to help you get organized, to get yourself rolling. So let's take a look at the application. This is a post from Toronto News Online. So basically, the CRB is going to be paying you $2,000 a month for 4 months during the COVID-19 pandemic. The applications are available from the 15th of March to the 3rd of October. You can apply no later to December 2nd. It will actually backdate your application to October 3rd if eligible. So who can apply? So if you're let go of your job or your hours are reduced to zero, um, if you applied for employment insurance, regular sickness benefits, you still have your job but have been temporarily laid off and asked not to come back. So you haven't been fired, but you're temporarily laid off while this is going on. If you're sick or quarantined, you do not need a medical certificate as proof, which is good. If you're taking care of someone who's sick, that's another one. If you're working at home because you have to look after your children because the daycare or school is closed and you have to stay home and watch them. So that's another one. Self-employed people who don't qualify for EI, or you're a contractor who would not normally qualify for EI, and that's employment insurance. So that's who can qualify. What's the criteria? So if you're currently looking for a job, now here's where it gets a little sticky, and here's where it's tough for some people. So if you're currently looking for a job, you're not eligible for the benefit. Now that's difficult. If you're on the job hunt during this period, you cannot qualify for this, which stinks. So you'd have to apply for a normal EI. You must reside in Canada, obviously, and you must be at least 15 years old. You have to have a valid social insurance number. Those are basics. You must have stopped working for COVID-19 related reasons or are eligible for employment insurance, regular sickness benefits. You must have had at least $5,000 of income in 2019 or in the 12 months prior to the date of applying for the CERB. It can be from employment, self-employment, maternity, and paternal benefits under the EI program. You must be without employment or self-employment for at least 14 consecutive days, so 2-week period, and within the first 4-week period. For the rest of the benefit periods, you can expect no employment income, so during that time, you've got to expect that no income is coming in. What documents are you going to need? So you're going to need your personal contact information. So you're going to need an address somewhere that they can mail information to you. You need a phone number, obviously. You're going to need your social insurance number, so make sure you have that handy. And you're going to need to confirm that you meet the eligibility requirements. So if you stop working for COVID because of COVID-19, you should apply for the CERB, whether or not you're eligible for EI. April 6th, which is today, they launched the online portal, and I'm going to show you that in a second. If you're already receiving EI benefits, you will continue to receive them until the end of the benefit period. If you became eligible for EI after March 15th and you applied for EI then, they will automatically shift you into the CERB. So make sure you understand that. You don't need to apply for shift you into that. Chances are you haven't received your EI yet because of backload. I think over 1.4 million applied in the past 2 weeks or so. So obviously you probably haven't received that yet. So you will be automatically sent into the CERB, which will top you up to $2,000 or depending on your income, keep it at $2,000. If you apply for EI and it hasn't been processed yet, more than likely that's the case. You don't need to do this. After you stop receiving the CRB, you can be eligible for the EI again, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll have it because your time for EI might be up. Remember, it's a 16-week period. So here's the interesting part. When you should apply, people who are born in January, February, February, or March can apply on Mondays. So that's today. Your best day to apply, April 6th, which is today. If you're born April, May, and June, you can apply tomorrow, a Tuesday. July, August, September, apply on Wednesdays. October, November, December, apply on Thursdays, and then any month of the year can apply. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they're free for all days. Anyone can apply on those days if you have. So when you can expect to receive payment, this is where it's interesting. If you have a My CRA account, make sure you attach banking to that so they can direct deposit your payment. That will make it a lot quicker. It should be into your bank account, they say, within 3 business days. So that doesn't include weekends. So if you apply on a Friday, it won't be there until Wednesday the next week. Understand that. If you're getting your payment by check, it could take a lot longer. So we're looking at 10 business days because we're waiting for Canada Post. So understand that that's the case. Now, here's another one. You're going to need to apply every 4 weeks. So this is an application you're going to have to submit every month. Every month during the 4-month period. So make sure that you do that. So the benefit is every 4 weeks up to a maximum of 16 weeks if your situation continues. So if you do receive employment, you cannot apply for this during that 4-month period. So if you apply for it right now, you get it now, but then you pick up a job, say 3 weeks from now, then you are not eligible anymore. So make sure that if you are eligible, continue to reapply. It's not going to be automatic payments every time. This is something that you have to actively go after every month. So here's the actual page, and I'm going to share this link as well. This is the CERB page. It shows the eligibility requirements. This is the Government of Canada page. Okay, so how to apply, there's questions and answers, how to get started. It's very simple. If you're an employee, you would click here. Were you a full-time employee for at least 4 months last year? So yes, full-time means you work 30 hours or more. So click yes if that's the case. So yes, you're going to continue on. And then it ships you off to this page where it shows all your eligibility. So you can confirm and start your application here. So privacy, they protect, it's a little privacy disclaimer that they have to do, who they share your information with, what happens when you don't give us your information, start application. I would imagine there's a ton of people applying today. Those 3 months are all in the mix, January, February, and March. So be wary of delays. I hope the system doesn't get overloaded like many other things. So are you trying to retrieve an application you started within the past 72 hours? I'm going to say no for that. I'm going to stop short of applying because I actually don't qualify because I have not lost my job, but I will take you through the steps here. So this is the page, the funky page where see, I have speedy internet. I imagine there's a ton of people that are actually on this page right now, so it's backloaded with people trying to sign up. So that's probably why it's taking forever. So I would say be prepared for something like this to happen. Still loading. Yeah. Ultimately, the big thing about it is that this $2,000, the one thing I mentioned to people is that they get a little, $2,000, that's nowhere near my income. But yeah, why does the government have to pay your full income? That's something that, in my opinion, it's not their job to pay your full income. It's their job to provide you with the basic necessities to get by. If $2,000 is not enough for your basic necessities, then maybe you should try refining your budget, which is why I always include the budget worksheet in this period. Ultimately, the big thing about it is that if you could keep the roof over your head and keep your utilities going and your bill payments that are essentials going and keep food in your belly, ultimately this is the best way to go about it. So I think that's a great system that the government's put in. So what you'll need to do as well is sign up for a CRA Login account. So this is a My account. You can go as an individual, which most of you probably will be applying as. If you have not done a My CRA account or a My account with CRA, sign up and go that. I'm going to include this link right with it as well. Here is the regular benefits. So this page here I'm going to include as well. It shows you what you need to do and all the things you're going to need in terms of applying for this CERB benefit. Now, if you look at it right now, it's actually super slow, but I'll include the link to get into that because ultimately you may or may not be waiting a while. I assume there's going to be a ton of people applying for this benefit right now, so watch out for that. So what I want people to do is also check out My Relevant Retirement System Step 1, Budget. So this is budget, and this is basically what I help people do on a regular basis. Why having a successful budget is so important. It's my way of showing you that having a successful budget is something that you need to practice throughout your life, especially at a time like this. People are seeing why it's important to have a successful budget. Ultimately, you're going to need to refine your budget over the course of your lifetime. And especially at a time like this when you're looking at less money coming in or no money coming in, this is the huge thing. So we're going to want to create a surplus every month. What we're going to want to do is actually maintain our standard of living, and how you do that is throughout the budget and building an emergency fund. And now I talk about that there. I talk about budget myths. It's actually something that's super, super interesting when people actually poo-poo a budget or talk smack about a budget, and it makes really no sense to me why someone would do that. I explain why. And again, download the combo expenses worksheet. So let's do a quick market update. And as you can see, it's still, so we are back to the application point. So be prepared for it to be a long journey to go through this. Reason being is because a lot of people are applying right now, and that's just the way it's going to be. So ultimately, take your time. And if you're at home and you're not working, you really have nothing but time. There's also a phone number you can call, and I believe I have that phone number right here. Yeah, so I'll include the phone number with it as well. Let's do a quick market update as we're checking them out. So we're still in that 3 and 4% range. Markets are actually having a good day, and chances are it will continue for the rest of the day. So hopefully people didn't get out of the market at the low point and actually put their money in cash, because at that point they'll be losing all these gains we've had since then, which amount to about a 12 to 15% recovery after a 30 to 35% loss since then. So I want people to understand that we're going to inch our way back up, but it may take some time, and I don't want people going out at the bottom end and coming back in at the top end. You'll actually lose. You'll crystallize that 30% loss. So I want people to fully understand what they're up against here. So the big thing about it is, if you qualify for this benefit, make sure you apply for it. Make sure you check it out. The CERB, we need to keep our four walls together. Again, this is why emergency fund is so important, because this benefit may or may not come for you for 5 to 10 business days, which could take you right into the middle of the month. We are looking at maybe the 22nd. And by the sounds of people who already were talking about rent strikes and talking about things last month for April 1st and not being able to pay your rent, a lot of people don't have an emergency fund and are living paycheck to paycheck or are living dollar to dollar. And we need to actually get ourselves to a point where actually missing one paycheck isn't going to affect us. A lot of people missed one paycheck, and that actually sent them overboard in terms of their budget. So let's focus on taking care of what we need to do, get ourselves to a position where if we miss one paycheck or two paycheck, or God forbid 3, 4, 5, 6 months of work, we're in a good spot in terms of being able to take care of ourselves, take care of our necessities. So I'm going to end it at that. Again, I'm going to include all the links to getting the CERB in my post here. You can check it out on YouTube. I will show you my contacts right now so you can see that. So you can check it out on Facebook. Facebook's a great place because I can share more dynamic links there. Instagram is where you'll see the IGTV, and in my highlights you'll have every story, every YouTube post, or every IG post for this. Twitter's another place you can find me, and of course the YouTube link here where all the catalog of COVID campaign days are here, so day 1 through 11. So I want to check those out. You can also contact me on my website and sign up for the email list, and you can also book an appointment with me if you wish to actually discuss your investments or talk about financial planning in general. So I hope everyone's doing okay. Again, we're in self-isolation mode. It is going to be going on at least for the next month. My guess is for the next 2. I'm guessing in May as well. Goal is hopefully by that time the scientists get it together and they can actually come up with a cure or a treatment for this disease. And at that point, you'll see the markets go up. You'll see people being able to go back to work and do their thing. All of us being able to go the places that we want. Until then, though, let's stay home. Let's help them out by not clogging up hospitals with people who are unnecessarily sick because they just didn't follow the isolation guidelines that were given to us. And in fact, they're actually giving out tickets for that now, which I think is a great idea. So you don't want to get a ticket right now while you're in isolation mode because you went somewhere you shouldn't have gone. And all the guidelines are there. They're all straightforward. There's signs. There's everything. It's on the news. If you're not watching the news, watch the news. Our fearless leader, Trudeau, is speaking right now, telling us about all the things that are going on. So make sure you watch the news at least once a day. I would recommend probably not watching it all day, every day, because it is pretty depressing. But in the same time, what you can do is at least pick up the highlights, actually check it out once a day for a good 10-15 minutes. You'll see exactly what you need to know and be able to move forward. So have yourself a great day, guys. Again, if you qualify for the benefit, check it out. January, February, March can apply today, and then through the rest of the week, everyone else can apply as well. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a free-for-all where anyone can apply. So have a great day, bosses. Peace.